said, all rise. The People versus Voice, the Honorable Judge Raina Sterling presiding.
Be seated. Now we all know why we're here today. And I see the media circus outside has managed to root its way into my courtroom as well. Well, I suppose I could accommodate a slightly larger crowd than usual, but know this, all you out there in the press box, I hear one cell phone go off and I will break my gavel off in your ass. Turn them off, people, now. Now, before we begin, let me remind everyone that the Olmstead Act is not on trial here today. That case was decided 15 years ago by a group of upstarts who go by the name the Supreme Court. Olmstead is not on trial, though I fully expect to hear its name invoked more than once during this trial. At issue today is whether or not the defendants, in the process of protesting in the manner they chose, showed reckless disregard for public safety. The charge is criminal mischief, and I want it on the record that, bailiff.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where's my court reporter?
I hear the courthouse is overbooked today, ma'am. Budget cuts.
I can't have a trial without a court reporter. Bailiff, do you type?
I can write 90 words a minute, Your Honor.
Congratulations! You just got promoted. And as a bonus, you get to do your other job too.
Both jobs?
You know, most people would kill for just one job these days. Don't complain.
Yes, Your Honor.
What are you doing?
Preparing to record, Your Honor.
On your phone? Is there a stenography app?
I'm a lightning fast texter, Your Honor.
I can't have you texting me the entire trial.
Oh.
Live tweet it and I'll follow you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, problem solved. Opening arguments may now commence. Ms. Betcher, you may proceed with the state's case.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Her Honor the Judge is right. This is not a trial to retry the Olmstead Act. This isn't a trial about people with disabilities versus people without disabilities. This is a trial about responsibility. In America, we hold people responsible for their actions, unless they work on Wall Street, but that's a whole other This trial is about the defendants, a radical group known as Voice, extreme activists who put their own agenda ahead of other public safety, a group who acted with malicious intent to sabotage an institution whose sole purpose is to help the most vulnerable members of our society. A group who acted with purposeful premeditation to not only disrupt the business they were protesting, but all those other surrounding businesses. And finally, a group who took the law in their own hands to do what they knew the law would not allow them by putting the Starview nursing home out of business permanently by burning it to the ground. You will hear testimony to that effect. And while you may have sympathy for the differently abled defendants, you will nevertheless reach the conclusion that members of Voice are in fact guilty, and it is your duty to silence them. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm Kathleen Weiss for the defense, and I want to thank you for your service today. Now, you've heard twice now that this is not a case about the Olmstead Act, and that's a good thing, as I'm fairly certain none of you know what the Olmstead Act is. So allow me to enlighten you. Olmstead versus LC was a Supreme Court case that was decided in 1999 in which it was determined that people with disabilities had a constitutional constitutional right to live in the least restrictive environment based on an individual's ability to take care of himself. What that meant was that people with mild cognitive disabilities, or mental retardation, as they called it in those days, could not be forced into an institution or a convalescent home if there were viable and reasonable options that allowed them for more freedom and independence. The case was decided and became law. A law that has often been poorly enforced and flaunted at the state level. Flaunted by states just like ours. This is the matter that the members of Voice wished to bring to the greater attention when they convened at the Starview Nursing Home on the day in question. What you will hear from those present are why they were there, what their intentions were, and how they went about achieving their goals. What you will not hear is conclusive proof that any of them set fire that thankfully did not result in any injuries at the Starview Nursing Home. You will not hear this evidence because it doesn't exist.
The state calls Officer Emily Wrench.
Officer Emily Rich.
Bailiff, what are you doing?
I'm taking a stand, Your Honor.
You mean to tell me you're the bailiff and a witness in this case?
That appears to be the case, Your Honor. Budget cuts.
Very well. Swear the witness in.
Do I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? I do. Hashtag oath.
Officer, in addition to serving as court bailiff, you also serve as a sheriff's deputy, is that correct?
It is. I am.
And you were the first to respond to the disturbance at the home, is that correct?
It is. I was.
Tell us what you saw when you arrived.
Well, a local liquor store owner had called for an unruly group of protesters who had gathered at the gates of their home. I responded and found just that. A crowd had gathered that looked highly suspicious. Some were brandishing sticks. Some had possibly vicious animals with them. I saw numerous unauthorized motor vehicles being used on city sidewalks. It was a lot to take in.
And as you are bound to, by duty, you acted to protect the public interest.
I am, and I did. When I told the crowd to disperse, I was met with verbal abuse. Then things jumped up a notch when I noticed that they were preparing to set fire to their surroundings.
What were they setting on fire?
Well, I believe the official term for it is burning an effigy. I saw it done on Fox News one time by a crowd of Arabs, so I knew it couldn't be good.
And it sounds like things were getting out of hand quickly.
Yes, so of course I had to act.
Well, thank you, officer, and thank you for doing your duty. Your witness.
Would the court reporter be so kind to read back the officer's testimony earlier regarding the crowd?
That's why she's here.
A crowd had gathered that looked highly suspicious. Some were brandishing sticks. Some had possibly vicious animals with them. I saw numerous unauthorized motor vehicles being used on city sidewalks. There's lots taken. Hashtag riot.
Thank you. Now, these sticks that you mentioned, did they look anything like these?
I'd say yes.
And the animals that you mentioned, were they in fact in harnesses or leashes?
I believe so.
And these motorized vehicles that you refer to, could they be described perhaps as scooters or wheelchairs?
I'm not really familiar with the way this phraseology in that area.
Were all the protesters disabled?
Well, most of them.
And this effigy that you speak of was in fact
A pinata.
a pinata.
Is there any other kind?
Once you decided that you were going to take them into custody, what kind of hurdles did you encounter?
Well, strictly speaking, we don't have access to a vehicle suitable to transport quick, handy, special cases like the defendants.
You mean the police do not have access to an accessible paddy wagon,
No,
a van,
no,
a bus with a ramp,
no.
anything short of a tow strap dragging a wheelchair behind a motorized vehicle?
Now, ma'am, I know for a fact that would not be legal.
Were there more than the 4 protesters present that we see here today?
Initially,
And what happened to the rest of them?
well, most of them slipped away while I was figuring out the whole paddy wagon thing you mentioned earlier.
And you didn't call for backup.
I was pretty sure I could handle it.
There was no other reason you didn't call for more officers?
Not that I recall.
Interesting. Defense submits Exhibit A. This is footage from the dashboard camera from your police car. I think the jury would be interested to see it.
This should be interesting. Give it a whirl.
To be here.
So put the weapon down and back away.
What weapon?
I'm serious. You're all looking at jail time if you don't comply.
Oh, and how exactly will you be transporting all of us to jail, officer?
Jail? I hear my Schedule 1 narcotics to dump a pretty penny in there. Let's go.
All right, but I'm bringing my own bitch to prison.
I'll need to keep my implants. I can't use sign language very well in handcuffs.
Can I have a turn?
Sure.
Hey, Red, let me have a whack at the pig.
Where nobody move!
She's not one of them. She's a regular customer.
What brings you out this crowd, miss?
What is going on here?
Who are you? You look familiar.
Look, it's the pig.
I'm the owner of this establishment. Who are these people?
We're here to protest the confinement of your resident in defiance of the Olmsted Act.
Yeah.
Oh, not this shit again.
Looks like the 5 o'clock news is here.
Okay, everybody. Community inclusion, not an institution. Community inclusion, not an institution.
Get them out of here. I'll make it worth your while.
We throw any six-pack you want on the house. No enforcement.
I really should call for backup.
No need to bring unnecessary attention to this. Why don't you see to it yourself, and I'll set things right with your superiors.
Well, maybe that would work if I can use one of your wheelchair van things to get them out of here.
Oh, we don't have any of those. Too expensive.
What about your residents when they need to go somewhere?
A place like this is like a roach motel. When the guests check in, they don't check out.
pin effigy was lit on fire, followed by the home itself. Must have been a stray ember or something. We're waiting on word from the fire marshal any time now.
Thank you, Officer Wrench. No further questions.
As you were, bailiff or court reporter, just get out of the chair.
The state calls Rosie Berkowitz.
Rosie Berkowitz? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
So, you own the liquor store across the street from the home, is that correct?
That's correct. Rosie Bordeaux.
I'm sorry?
That's the name of the establishment. It has a nicer ring than Berkowitz.
Most things do. So tell us about the experiences you had with the protesters on the day in question.
Well, it was very unpleasant. They kept coming into my store. I think it was to try to intimidate me because they kept knocking things over and acting like they didn't even notice. At first I thought they had escaped from the home because that happens sometimes. They come in to buy alcohol with their welfare money or whatever they have. In fact, one of the four who was arrested bought a bottle of vodka that morning. I really didn't feel like... I was very uncomfortable selling it to her because she was in a wheelchair. So I wrote on the receipt that she bought it for a friend in case she was stopped. I have to be very careful to protect my business.
I'm sure.
One of them wanted to buy a magazine even though he was blind. I could tell because of the dog and the cane and the fact that he didn't make eye contact.
That's very astute.
Thank you. He tried to force me to sell a magazine, which was ridiculous because, of course, he can't read it. He was just trying to trick me into selling him something inaccessible so he could sue me. Or worse, stage a protest like they were doing at Starview. I'm just lucky they didn't burn down my store like they did over there.
Objection!
Finally! I thought no one would ever say that! Sustained. Strike it from the record.
Got it. Hashtag struck.
Your witness.
So you said you wrote, bought it for a friend for one of the defendant's receipt from the liquor store. Was she underage?
Well, I guess I didn't even check.
Shouldn't that be the store policy?
Well, it is, but I don't know what to do in special cases.
Special cases? Like when a college-educated 32-year-old woman wants to buy a bottle of vodka.
Well, how was I supposed to know she wasn't mentally retard able?
Or the question might be, why would you automatically assume that she was? Was it the wheelchair?
Objection!
Grounds?
Awkward questioning?
Trust me, if making things awkward was against the law, I never would have made it to the bench. Hi-yo! See what I mean? Anyway, overruled.
So was it the wheelchair?
I don't know. It was the way she spoke.
called the police, I take it.
I did what was necessary to defend my livelihood.
And tell us, from your perspective, what happened?
I remember it well.
All right, let's kill this
Hey,
pig.
hey, you're gonna get us.
I'm just a helpless, upstanding businesswoman.
Folks, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you to disperse immediately.
Get that pig.
Yeah.
I'm having too many complaints about the noise.
You want us to leave, you're gonna have to make us.
Sir, put the weapon down and back away.
What weapon?
I'm serious, you're all looking at jail time for Joe Clyde.
Hey, you're gonna have to take us there. I'll do my time high as a kite. I usually am anyway.
Me too.
Aren't we all?
Anyone tries to take my implants out, cut a bitch!
All right, let's whack this pig.
Oh, the horror.
Oh, please, officer, save my poor, innocent customer.
What is the meaning of all this?
What if Terrence Pennyworth come to save us all?
People, please, what have I done to anger you so?
You're a worse version of Hitler.
Yeah.
Hey, look, cameras! Time to get famous!
We are angry. We are angry. We are angry.
And stoned.
I'll handle this. No need for backup.
You're a true American.
You're the old suck.
And suddenly, the pinata was on fire. Before I knew it, the embers had spread to the home. It was awful. I might be suffering from post-traumatic disorder.
I need to walk away from you right now. No questions.
In that case, Your Honor, the state rests.
Already?
Well, yes.
Are you sure?
Your Honor.
Fine, just asking. We'll reconvene this afternoon. Adjourned.
Again.
I've got like 400 followers.
Nice. Be careful, because sometimes your closest followers will just get close enough to stab you in the back.
Hearing, hearing. Court is now in session.
Welcome back. I see the circus is still in town. Carry on.
Your Honor, the defense calls Ray Oakes to the stand.
Ray Oaks. Place your right hand here
Where?
on the Bible.
Bible. Bible. Bible. Bible. Hey, there's no braille on this thing.
So,
So how do I know